the webcam cover. Thank you very much. Good morning. So a beautiful song to lead up into our topic today, that moment of letting go of the past, standing in the moment of possibility when all things are coming together for this great realization of the inner work you're doing. And I've been thinking about that because it has to do with the topic from our featured book for this month, The Hidden Power of the Bible. And it tells about just that moment in the life of Jesus when he was out in the wilderness. I guess it's like a vision quest. You know, you're going out to be alone, to really be able to commune with divinity and listen to the voices and, I guess, recommit. I don't know, whatever it is, but he's out there doing his spiritual work, and this character appears and makes these suggestions to him that, although they seem reasonable, they represent the kind of distractions you just don't want when you're right at that moment where you're trying to stay focused on what is really important. You know, you're there with God, and here come these suggestions. They're quite reasonable. Have you ever had that when you're trying to stay in your spiritual practice? You're trying to stay with what's important, and reasonableness comes in? Nobody in the front rows. But in the back rows, you understand. You've been there. Actually, while I was in India visiting the ashram, the guru, Babaji, they call him out of respect. His name is Hariji. He was talking to me about, you know, this kind of thing, the distractions that show up in us when we're trying to stay in our spiritual work. He was talking to me about something that we'll nod with familiarity, the value and the importance of a daily spiritual practice. He said, well, you know, there are these distractions that come up, and they come up in the form of these voices, and there you are, you're going about your practice, and then it arrives, the distractor. In the form of a voice, the first voice is the one that suggests to you, no, it's really not that much of a big deal. You can skip it today. You'll get back to it. It's that part within that kind of encourages procrastination and does it by suggesting, well, it minimizes and denies the value of the spiritual practice so that something else, like breakfast, can displace it. Yes? You've had that. Now, if you can get through that, the next voice that rises up is one that offers you a better option. It's early. I mean, if you sleep in, then you're going to really be better equipped, more refreshed to face the day. It's going to be better for you. It's the voice that presents a greater payoff for not doing the spiritual work. Do you know what I mean? This side, you know. You know, if you can get through that, you know, then it's like the voices turn it up a bit, raise up the volume, you know, because then what arises next maybe is that this voice that speaks in urgency. It excels in urgency because this voice understands how addicted we are to the urgent. And so it uses it. It says, you know, you got to call him, her, it right now. You got to do it now. It's an opportunity. If you don't, here's what's going to happen. And it's reasonable. You know, it's the voice that has practiced creating imagined futures that, although not provable, are quite reasonable. And if you can stay through that one, then there is that voice that rises up with reasoning based on your separateness. It says to you, know, this is not for you. You're different. You've done this. I've tried this. I'm special. I'm not able to do it. I don't get it. Etc., etc. The voice that specializes in disengaging you by claiming this separateness. And all of them are quite reasonable. Just like that character in the wilderness confronting Jesus, doing exactly the same thing. He appears and he says to Jesus, who's been there for a long time, he says, have a snack. You're hungry. What's wrong with that? Eat something. It's just your body, biology. To me, it's a metaphor, of course. It's the metaphor of focusing on the spiritual and the physical distracts, And it's not that there's anything wrong with the physical, it's just the message that there is more. And that comes through in the way that Jesus responds with these now famous lines. He says, hey, we don't live by bread alone. And to me, it's a wonderful reminder to pay attention to distractions when they appear, especially when they're reasonable, and especially when they offer better payoffs than the spiritual work I'm doing. So I sit with these words, because in this case for me, food, snacking, it represents also those things that kind of tug at my consciousness and nag at me, or they tempt me, partly because I like them so well. Now, there's nothing wrong with them, but by themselves they cannot give me what I hunger for.